And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the spaceship stream. You could be watching from anywhere around the country or the world, anywhere in the galaxy, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And coming to you from the spaceship studios from a galaxy far, far away, we are here on a Monday live, and we'll talk about some things with the Lori Daybell trial and all kinds of other things that we talk about here. Mainly that, and so I could be seen right here. All right. All right. Hello. Now I'm visible, and this is me. Hello. I'm here, Alien Spaceship, and I hope everybody had a good Easter. And also today I had some very bad weather. It was a lot of rain, a lot of wind. And now what I'm going to do is, without further ado, I'm going to start the game. All right. Here we go. Okay. And we'll play this and do our thing. Hmm. All right. Now what's happening is the game is loading. Okay. All right. And so yeah, today I think that it was very cringe today. The the trial, it had some funny moments in it. It was interesting. I'm just making sure everything is working right and getting together here. Okay, we can X this window out and switch it over to the game window. We can see what's going on. All right, this is the island as we usually play. All right, so this is making sure the connection. It seems like it's doing being interesting, but we'll see how it goes. All right. Hello, Rebecca. Good to see you. Welcome. I'm glad. And Leon are doing good. Had a good Easter. Hello, Duke. Welcome. All right, so basically today there's a lot of bad weather and stuff going on, and also the Lori Daybell trial happened, and there are some funny things that happened today, but also it was overall very cringeworthy stuff that happened today. So there was the closings that they did for both sides of the closings. Yeah, so I'm just looking at this thing. So basically, yeah, both sides did closings today, and the state did it for quite a while, and Lori Daybell's was very short, and nobody would believe her, of course. I don't think, but there could be somebody that does possibly. We have to wait to see how the jury deliberation goes, and it'll be tomorrow that they'll continue the jury deliberations for that. All right, so hello, Moki. Good to see you. Welcome. All right, so hello, Moki. I'm glad you're here. I'm not too sure what can be heard of me exactly because of the. I'm not too sure how well the how's the weather situation, but so basically earlier with the trial ended for the day, and nobody believed us that the trial was over with, and eventually everybody was asking, are they still there deliberating? But they weren't because there's a delay, and Moki was telling everybody that there was a delay, and people still believed that it was still going on anyway, in spite of what she was saying. Hello, Joyce. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, that was crazy. And hello, Joyce. I'm glad that you're here. And also, everybody else, shout out to all of you. Thank you. And yeah, so where I am, this for the record, it was extremely stormy and rainy today. But over at the courthouse, it was nice and sunny and clear skies. I love the stormy weather. I really enjoyed it. And, I like the stormy weather, but still, the weather has pros and cons to it, and the whole yard's flooded. So, yeah. Hello, Gloria. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Yeah, and like if Moki says something, it's true. That's what people, she knows what she's talking about, and she's not gonna lie or mislead people. And the NPCs. So an NPC means a non-player character. It's a meme. So the NPCs were saying that it was not really true that the trial was still going on, and people were angry, about that. And I think it was complete cringe, because she was not misleading anybody. Aaron says, "Rumor, hello friends. Rumor has it the jury is still deliberating." Hello, Miranda. Also, and Eugene. Hello, everybody. Miranda says today sucks. Well, I am sorry to hear that. I have. I wish that everything could get better for you. And actually, I'll say I feel bad about you had a bad day today. It's unfortunate. Anything you want to share with us, you can. It's okay, but I hope everything gets better for you. All right. So, uh, shout out to all of you. Thank you. All right, understood, Miranda. Yeah, Kathy Rusin tweeted it. Right. Yeah, Kathy Rusin. She would know. She's a director of it, and also the other person tweeted it. that she was talking about. Easton, I think his name is. You're saying the other journalist. He also said that it was over with. On Twitter, and yeah, it's just and these idiots, the NPCs, they think that they're still deliberating, and right now they may be still deliberating, and there's probably still people in the chat right now wondering where if it's over or not. It's like we're the group there that is watching it all the time. We're not going to mislead people. Nate. All right, that was his name. All right. Yeah. I thought his name was Nate. There was 1,500 people watching. You're going to get a couple of dumb dumbs. Absolutely. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, Gloria. So this is what happened. So people were in the trial chat, and there's a 30-minute delay. So people were asking, "Is it over for the day?" And Moki said that it ended, and the jury went home. And I said, "Okay." Jury went home. Everybody have a nice day. And everybody was asking me, and everybody was asking Moki, and everybody else, and just talking in general like a bunch of sheep going bah bah. They were going, "Is it over for the day?" And Moki says, "Yes." And I said, I confirmed it, what she said. And I even went and checked. I went and checked Court TV's feed, and they ended for the day. So I could confirm that it was over. Although I believe, Moki, just for anybody in the back, I was going to tell them what really happened. Like, yeah, like it was over for the day. And people kept asking, and people were getting angry. And people were saying, and Moki says she expects apologies tomorrow. She wants apologies. Scared. Aaron says, Moki, those are the same people who missed the verdict thinking it'll be a 30-minute delay. I uploaded a new song today. I know I need to get better at mixing and better outros, but I was happy to finally get a new song finished after the laptop was deleted. I'm glad to hear that, Eugene. I'm glad that you did that today. Awesome. I'll check it out later. Yeah, the same people that ask what the case is about. Yeah. It's kind of like when we watch a smoke and scan chase and somebody asks him if it's live when it's clearly not live or it is live. It's the same type of people. The NPCs. Hello, Danny. I hope that you're well. I hope that you're well too. Aaron says, Joyce, you love those people. Why haven't we made bingo cards yet? Exactly. And Moki says, I know 5-minute delay tomorrow will definitely confuse people. Hilarious. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and people kept on asking over and over again that it's not over, and people are asking why is there still something on the screen. And people are asking, why is it still on the screen if they're over for the day? I will, Moki, I will. Scared. Hello, Becky B. Welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Glad you could join us. Yeah, and also so many people are not paying attention, and they come in at the end of the trial and they'll say these silly things, and then what will happen is I'm glad that Mookie got the information from Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and I'm glad that Kathy Rusin posted about it, and yeah, and also it's like today Lori Daybell had a very short deliberate, a very short closing argument, and then there was a rebuttal and a closing argument by the state, and the state, now some people think that the state went too long with their deliberation, and also I think that it's an interesting perspective. Calypso was saying that, and she was talking about the YSL trial when Hilton was going too long with her deliberation, and I also added she was yelling at the jury like an angry person, like very frustrated, and it's like, come on, lady, chill out. It's so yeah. So Calypso was right that when the possibly now with Rico, you would have a long closing statement, closing argument, but the state was being very long. But as I said, and maybe she had to do it. Now, G was saying that maybe she couldn't have mentioned stuff about Charles a certain way because somebody on the jury that might believe in the nonsense that Lori is saying might have thought that Charles was abusive or Charles was not that good and maybe side with her. So I don't know that maybe she didn't talk about Charles, the state talked about Charles correctly. Thank you, Cecil. Thank you for that compliment. Good to see you too. So that's what we are talking about, and I think with the closing statements, closing argument rather, it was to not make Charles look like he was anything bad because you don't want to mention you want to mention Charles in a certain way where the jury doesn't think that she felt she had to do it or believe in the religious stuff that she was possessed when he wasn't possessed. She's the one that's possessed. Becky says, I just done a highlight video of Lori's closing on TikTok. All right. Lasted 5 minutes with all the fluff and taken out. Oh, okay. Thank you for the information. If you want to put your TikTok name in the chat, if you want to check you out, you can. We wouldn't mind, it's okay. And so, yeah, it's very short. Lori's closing, very short. Scared. The state hammered it home on the rebuttal, though. It was great. Yes, there. Now that was the part about the closing statements, the closing arguments. Come on, alien, get it together. Now with the closing arguments, she got it together. With the state's rebuttal, I think I agree. It was good. The rebuttal was good. I agree. Moki says, I find it hard to believe no one on the jury knows about the kids. I know because this case is so public, it would be hard to see if you'd have somebody without a bias or somebody that would know something about the case. Yeah, it would. I agree with that. It is 1:49 a.m. over there. All right, Eugene. Thank you for the link. Thank you. Yeah, and she still will be in prison no matter what if she's found guilty or innocent of this. But and she had that catty voice she has, that creep that kind of flirty girl voice, and it's really cringe about the situation that happened and that how Lori Daybell does it. Yeah, she thinks she's gonna try to charm the jury. That's what she thinks. And also the cameraman side in the courtroom, it was also funny. It starts 8 a.m. my time, so probably like 7 a.m. in the East Coast. So it would start 8 a.m. Central. And adjust it to your time zone. Becky, I do not know if she is or she isn't in the other trial, in Brandon's trial. I don't know. She probably is, I'd say, but I don't know for certain. 9 a.m. Eastern. Okay, then I must have saw it wrong. Oh, maybe I saw it wrong. It was a the court TV one. Maybe they start early for some reason. But okay, it's 9 a.m. Eastern. Then it's 10 a. It's like it's probably 8 a.m. my time. Yeah, it's 8 a.m. my time and 9 a.m. Eastern because they're an hour ahead of me. Yeah. Okay. It's 8 a.m. my time. 9 a.m. their time. 6 a.m. for you. Scared. Scared. Yes, that is likely true. Yes. I'm Central Time. At 2 p.m. for you. There you go. Hello, Amy. Good to see you. You're also Central. All right. And also double verdict watch, though Lori doesn't stand until late. Start until late. That's true. Yes. You are Eastern Time. 8 a.m. for Central. Right. Yeah, 8 a.m. Central. You're Pacific Time. Oh, okay. Scared. All right, so yeah, 6 a.m. for her. Well, Yeah, there were some goofy people in that chat today. That's true. Yes, it's best to Google. Google's a good friend to help you out with things. What am I scared of, Gloria? Well, I'm scared of a million things. But I will say, the time zones make me scared. Along with the other all the other things I am. Scared. The time zones. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, people are ridiculous today. Yeah, Valo for me starts around like 11 or 12 o'clock. Scared. That is true, and the read chat is very scary. Yeah, it is confusing. It's confusing. All right. Moki says people in the read chat are hostile and have zero sense of humor. That is true. That is true. Oh, also today at the trial, there is a scene where you had the cameraman. The cameraman was talking about his personal life, and everybody could hear what he was saying. It was about 8,000 people in the chat, and everybody could hear him. All right, I'm back. All right, so basically what happened was with the cameraman outside of the courthouse, he kept on talking about his wife and stuff and gossiping, and everybody was cringing and were like making commentary about what he was saying about his wife, and he didn't really like her, and he can't tell her no, and it was like hysterical. It's like a counseling session for him to talk to a random stranger about it. But we could all hear him, and he didn't know he was muted. It was hilarious. Part of you wants to troll. Scared. Yeah, it is not a lot of sleep. That's true. I don't really get that much sleep either, but I get sleep, but not that much. Also. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, the wife probably forced. That was crazy. Yeah, that was like you're gonna talk about that personal stuff while you're on the job. It's like, come on now. Yeah, I know. Imagine like what the wife feels. Definitely. You know, because I'm sure that would be very embarrassing. Yeah, because you know, I think with the people, it's like he needs to go confront his wife about it because that had to be very embarrassing for him and everybody else. But he didn't even know he was doing that. I mean, you gotta be careful. There's an expression my friend that I talk about aliens with said. He said that the walls have ears. And remember, if you think that you're somebody isn't listening, somebody may be listening. Like you think that no one could hear you, but you could be heard. The walls have ears. Yeah, he'll be sleeping on the couch for weeks. Yeah. Another thing about the trial is yet to remember is that loose lips sink ships. Have I read about the Pope prophecy? I'm sure there's a Pope prophecy, but I don't know of it. Can you tell us in chat, Moki, or I could look up something and read it? I'll be glad to. But I could go look it up on Google, but if I want you to provide as much information as you can in chat. Thank you. Under his eye. Okay. As I think that it was very interesting how, rest in peace to the Pope Francis. And he passed away on Easter or Resurrection Monday, whatever you want to call it. And I think that probably does mean something, in my opinion. So rest in peace to him. Yeah, because I would be interested to know about the prophecy. Will the next pope be tied to the Antichrist? The Antichrist is something that's going to happen in Israel, where the false Messiah will come to Israel and try to deceive the people there. I don't I don't think that'll have to do with the papacy, but it's possible it could. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But I don't think so necessarily. Oh, hello, Bina. Good to see you. Watching Handmaid Tale now. All right. Yeah, so I'm not aware about the Pope prophecy, but I'd be interested to know more about it. I could go look it up, look into it. Yeah, so basically, so today with Lori Daybell had a closing today, as also the state had a closing today as well. And there's people in the chat that when we're told by the authorities of law and crime, the director and many journalists that were actually there said that the jury ended for the day and people to go home. People did not listen, and Moki went and told people that it was over for the day, but people insisted that she was not right, and people kept on asking silly questions. So we're talking about our experience today in the trial chat at Law and Crime, and there was so Lori Daybell's verdict watch will be tomorrow, and it'll be tomorrow as well. So that is what we're talking about, and there's a scene where the cameraman went outside the courtroom. They'll show the courtroom outside, and they'll show the camera people, and he did not know he was not muted. And the guy was talking personal stuff about his wife and the fights he has with his wife, and talking about stuff that like he doesn't like something about her, but he says he likes it anyway because he can't say no. And he was talking to a random stranger about it, but 8,000 of us could hear it in the chat. And his wife must feel very embarrassed, and he was just gossiping. So that was something else that happened today, Bina. We're talking about trials and a couple of other things as well. All right. Moki says Notre Dame predicted the Pope's deletion and said Peter the Rome will replace him, ushering the return of Christ in 2027. The same year aliens are supposed to reveal themselves. All right. Very interesting, Moki. Thank you. Yeah, Becky, that was crazy. Yeah. So, okay, so I will say, according to Christianity, no one knows the time or the date when Jesus will return. Nobody knows the time or the date. Also, also in Islam, Jesus is a prophet that would return also in the day of judgment as well. But as I said, only God knows when he will come back. And I would to not discard these prophecies, but take everything with a grain of salt. But I do think that, especially in the scripture, talks about the frog people. It's kind of funny. These frog spirits will come before the end times, and they look a lot like the gray aliens. So I think that may be possible that they will reveal themselves in 2027. And seven is a holy number, so no one knows when the Antichrist will show up. But first, what has to happen? There has to be a global war. There has to be a war, and then there's like peace in the Middle East, and the Antichrist comes in Israel. Then Jesus comes back later. So those other things have not happened yet, but maybe it'll start or something may occur then. And also, Moki says that there are there are two Peters up for Pope. Yeah, I'm not entirely. I don't know enough about two Peters. I only know of one, but something may happen. But I do not necessarily think it's the return of Christ. But maybe some aliens will be revealed, or something may happen. But always take it with a grain of salt about these prophecies, because it's kind of to beware of these prophecies of when these things will occur, because nobody exactly knows when. Yeah, Smokey, and I recently have heard about that, about them being being angels. I recently got that information from some other YouTubers, and so basically, I do believe that aliens are from another planet. There are aliens from other planets. But yes, so that theory is Moki is that the Watchers, that a group of not Satan and the fallen angels, but this group of angels called the Watchers came down to watch us, but they wanted the Earth women and they fell from God, and they appeared as false gods, and now they appear as aliens, or they're the kind of the same thing connected with that somehow. So that is the theory about angels being aliens, and for instance, in Ezekiel, they talk about in the Bible how the prophet was brought out on chariot of fire, and the chariot of fire is a flying saucer, in theory. Hilarious, Danny. My eyes are aliens. Just saying. Well, okay. Scared. Your eyes are enchanting, and shout out to you for that. Shout out to you, alien eyes. And yes, so the Bible talks about that there are the frog spirits resemble the grays. Also, they talk about chariots of fire, and those are like UFOs, allegedly. So there is a possible connection between angels and the aliens. Yes. Now you could have good angels and good watchers. For instance, when Jesus was brought, to heaven, it may have been a UFO that brought him to heaven. Possibly, God doesn't need that, of course, but that's a possible explanation. But there are good and bad ones. But yes, most of the aliens you'd see are causing a deception. They're fallen angels causing a deception. But I still do believe there are aliens on other planets. I do believe that. But still, I think like the Greys and stuff, those are probably something of the fallen angels. But Moki, thank you for the Pope prophecies about from Notre Dame. When I was a kid growing up, I watched the Notre Dame prophecies, and I know what you're talking about. Thank you for telling me what they are. Thank you. Hilarious, hilarious. Yeah, so that and thing for I appreciate about the prophecy because it's very good to know, and something may happen. It's possible. Just be cautious. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Phone is tough to type. Yeah, typing on the phone can be annoying. Shout out to Bose using the cat box. All right. Yeah, and people are asking me, "Hello, Tina. Good to see you. Welcome to chat. I didn't mean to ignore you." Okay, Moki. On Friday, we'll talk more about it. All right, understood. I'll look more into it. All right. So Becky says the Pope dying is a massive here. Some people will go into 9 day mourning period. But yes, yes, and where I am, it's a Catholic part of the country. My family's Catholic, so it's also a big deal here too. But maybe not as big where you are, because I don't know about the 9 days of mourning. But yeah, it will. It's certainly in the Catholic community, in the Christian community, uh, it's a time of mourning. So yeah, thank you, Becky, for sharing that with us. Ah, okay. Okay, understood. Contentious issue here. All right. Yeah, and also people are asking me what my guess is about Lori Vallow Daybell, and I don't know. Usually, a lot of times, a verdict will take a day or two, but it could be a couple of hours. Justice thinks it'll be a couple of hours, like 4 hours. Do y'all have a time that y'all think that it will, the jury will come back with a verdict? I'm curious what y'all think about that. Gloria says 2.75 hours. Ah, okay. Yeah, it might be just 2 hours. It might be for short. Yeah, I believe it's more likely it'll be short. Yeah, but sometimes the juries can be unpredictable. I hope it's quick too. I hope that it's an hour or 50 minutes or something. I hope it's very short. Exactly, Moki. Thank you. All right. She says they don't even start deliberations till like 11, so it won't be early. Okay. All right. Good night, Eugene. Thank you for coming. Yeah, it's kind of like the draft lottery. Oh, yeah, Becky, I'm part Irish also, but my Irish ancestors went to England. And then my dad met my mom, and I was born in America, but my father's from England, so I'm part Irish from my English side. So I'm related to them also. But yeah, many Americans are part Irish. Most of them, maybe. Yeah, shout out to Eugene. Subscribe to his channel and like his content is really cool. All right. Oh, Becky. Okay, Tina. Okay. Understood. This is where all the rum is. Yeah, the prediction's very interesting. Moki, I agree with that. That makes sense. Yeah, shout out to the rum seller. Yeah, in the pirate movie, this is where Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Sparrow, and Elizabeth were on an island, and they burnt all the rum, waiting for the ships to rescue them. Yeah, and Cecil, I don't know for certain, but Lori Daybell is being tried for cases that she did when she's already in prison for something else. So I think it's possible they could still go after him for other things he did, like with Vanessa. I think it's possible. Well, yeah, absolutely, Joyce. Yeah, and Becky, we would have to be completely watchful about that. Yeah. Hello, Rebel. Rebel, we're talking about the Lori Val Daybell trial. That's what we're talking about right now. And we're talking about when the verdict, how long it might last. We're talking about a couple of different things regarding that topic. And today they had an incident where outside the courthouse where the people were filming, the guy didn't know that it was muted and he was talking about his wife and gossiping about her and saying like bad stuff about her, and everybody 8,000 people could hear him, and he felt, and he didn't know that he was being streamed. So that was wild, and everybody was joked out. And I was telling Mandy, because Mandy was, I said, yeah, you missed some wild stuff today, and she didn't even know there's trials. And I said, look, there is the cameraman talking about his wife and gossiping and saying all kinds of silly things, and we are all like ripping on him for being a fool. And she was, and my friend Mandy, she was like, she has to go back and rewatch this, and it was hilarious. Yeah, funny big time. So Rebel, that was some wild stuff. And Rebel, today I was watching the Lori Vallow closing, and so the state's closing was very long. And my friend Calypso was saying how when the state does it too long, it could maybe hurt their case, possibly. But she made good points, but the jurors could get bored. And like for YSL, the Hilton was so like brash and mean, but she was 4 hours long. This wasn't 4 hours long, but it could turn a jury off. Now the state did great during the rebuttal. The state did great during rebuttal, but what happened was Lori's was about 5 minutes or so. It was very short, and she was trying to say she was innocent. And G was saying, well, a friend G was saying that she thought that it's best to not make Charles look like her husband that she had any kind of bad way, because somebody in the jury might believe in the spiritual stuff. Yeah, the jury was talking about, no, the she was she was talking about like maybe if somebody's into the spiritual stuff, they might believe that the guy was possessed or something, so you have to be careful. Amen, Rebel. Amen. Oh, because Rebel, we were at Law and Crimes feed. Yeah, and then the Lori Daybell, she was talking about her her Timu closing, and she had her like girl, her like catty girl voice, and trying to be like flirty or whatever. And she wasn't faking. She wasn't faking anybody. Like she was so cringe with that voice. And Kathy Roosin, the director of Law and Crime, was saying how she was so irritated by the voice. And Rebel's saying that Lori is screwed. I think they'll be done in a few hours. Yeah, that most of the people are saying a few hours. So usually, like I've seen trials last a day or two before they get a verdict. But hey, I hope that this time it's a guilty. It's a not only a guilty verdict, but it happens quickly. I hope it's an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. And I strongly think that it would not take that long, and that it would just be over in a couple hours. It's just that juries can be unpredictable, and you never really know sometimes. Like I was like something's guilty, but they came back innocent. So as I said, sometimes it could take longer than we think. But yeah, I believe it has to be just a couple of hours because it's obviously guilty. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Rebel said he hates the way Lori says crime. Absolutely, it's so cringe. Also, Moki said, I think she killed Alex too. Ah, yes. All right, thank you, Moki, for the information about the buffering. Okay. Yeah, the connection's kind of saggy right now. I don't know about the jury asking to go home. I'm not aware of that. Moki says, I think she killed Alex too, and also that is why I meant by pulling the trigger. I told him I couldn't make it so lame. All right. The jury left 3:30 today. All right, so Rebel thinks they already found the verdict. Well, that's good that they finally found the verdict. I think it's obvious she's guilty. All right. Facts. Moki says, I think the jury just wanted to go home so they can get it all done tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I think too. Absolutely. I think that makes sense. Gonna have my ties with the family. That's cool. Adam's son, Adam Cox's son believes that too. Okay, understood, Rebel. Moki says bathtub should take long for guilty. Ah, okay. Yeah, aliens slaying the scorpions. Scared. Scared. About to level up with the sword. Life is crazy. Sometimes you gotta record. You gotta play it like an instrument and hit the right chords. Yeah, now I'm going after the wasps. Rebel says Chandler had dropped the ball for sure. It was so obvious they conspired to delete Charles. If they did a proper investigation, the kids would still be alive. Crappy detective work, in my opinion. Facts. If you don't have good detective work, you're gonna have a bad case. And that Rebel, you may be very well right about that. Makes sense. Yeah. It would be nice if those kids were still alive today. And Loki says, I'm suspicious about Tylee's dad's death too. There was a custody fight brewing. Danny says, could you imagine fighting off big scorpions like that every day? You would need lots of ammo. That's true. Yes. Hello, everyone. Just popping in to say good evening. I'm not scared. I just have a headache. So good night. See you all tomorrow. All right, Breeze. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you tomorrow. Get well soon. All right. Thank you for coming by. Yeah. Shot the Breeze. Oh, hello, Alan. Good to see you, buddy. True. Welcome, True. Glad you're here to say hello. Well, hello to you, friend. Glad that you're here. Telling us hello. All right. Going over here. Let's see. Going to do the attack, and I'm leveling up those swords. All right. All right. Now we're going to use the sword to fight. Moki, see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. And have a great evening. All right. Shout out to Moki. All right. And Bina, this is a blaster. This is like their version of a pew pew. What he's got there. It's the version of a like a rifle, some sort of rifle blaster. Oh yeah, Alan, I'm going there tomorrow. Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, right on, Bina. Scared of Karen Reed chat. All right. All right, going this way. Hello, under a rocket. Hello there. Hey, hey, under a rock. Scared. All right. So Alan says my job dumped a lot of work on me today, so I probably won't be able to talk much in Karen Reed trial. But I'm listening, so it seems I'm not there. I'll just be listening. Okay, Alan. Thank you. All right, Becky B. See you tomorrow, and thank you for coming to the stream. I really appreciate you. Good night. All right, here we go. Under a rocket, do you have an opinion about when the jury will come back with a verdict in the Lori Vallow trial? Hey, bro, Steve. Good to see you, buddy. All right, so I think the trials were hilarious today, and when we were about to end the trial, the trial ended, and the Law and Crimes feed extended a little bit, but people in the chat were thinking and asking why why is the trial not ending? Because people thought that it was not ending, but it was ending, and they kept getting fights about that. So I think that the closing of the state was it was good, but some people think, like Calypso was saying, how it was kind of long, it was winded. Also, with they're talking about the husband that passed away, it has to be talked about the victim a certain way. So if people on the jury that might have the same type of spiritual or religious views that she has might think that the person was possessed. So that has to be worded where it may not trigger somebody's bias in that instance. And I think the state did a great rebuttal. Now, Lori Vallow was extremely cringe. She was annoying, saying that she was innocent, and she's just talking all catty and like like trying to be cute, but it was really creepy and not entertaining. And okay, Joyce, good night to you. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you being here. Good night, Joyce. All right. So, and I think that Jose is extremely guilty. He had no emotion. He was probably making up stuff about the PCP, and he certainly is not believable. And he just had no emotion to him. And I'd say guilty. Now, I usually watch trials, and they come back a day or two later with a verdict. There's a lot of stuff you have to go over. But with Lori Vallow, I would personally think it would be quick, but I always think that it takes longer. So I don't know. It may take longer than we're thinking, but it may take, some people say 2 hours. Some people think it might take 4 hours or 5 or 6 hours. It just might be within that day the verdict will come back. It will just be quick. So the exception is not the rule. So it may take longer or it may not take that long. So it could go either way, but certainly I would think it'd be very quickly guilty, but we'll have to wait and see. I think that maybe it might take longer than we think. There's a lot of stuff to go over, but maybe not. So really don't know for sure. For sure. And also, okay, confused. Okay. Good night, sweet dreams. I have not seen Crime Talk, but you could go and post a link for it if you'd like. Thanks, Rebel, for the suggestion. I agree. Under a rocket, like if somebody's intoxicated and they go in a let's see, if they go into a car accident with somebody and they're still going to be in trouble for being intoxicated. If anything, that's even worse. So no, the PCP wouldn't have anything to do with the sentence. It's just somebody being a cop out and not taking responsibility for what they did. It seems like a pass, but a traffic stop, it would be immediate jail. No sense. Exactly. Exactly. One of my favorite lawyers who covers lots of trials is lawyer you know. Exactly. Another thing that Laura, she always opened up the door about her, like when Darrell Brooks did the same thing. All right. Darrell Brooks did the same thing. Lori did. Oh, Rebel, that's nice. That's nice. I don't know if I've seen Nate the lawyer, but any of those people are good. I think, in my opinion. Yeah, Nate. He be. I don't. I've not seen Nate, but that's good too. Other people that are doing stuff like that is fine. Yes, that is true. And also, Karen Reed is coming back. This is the Voodoo staff. I would be surprised if Lori got off too. That, in my opinion, will not happen. Oh, there's so many trials that I watched, and the people were not guilty when they were clearly guilty. I see it happen all the time. Like I saw, the roommate trial. That was guilty, but it came out not guilty. Like these jurors can be very surprising. Like you'll think it's guilty, but it's not guilty. These jurors can surprise you. But I think it's guilty, but we don't know for certain. There is the moon, the moon. Correct. Under a rocket. It doesn't matter if she's found guilty or not. Because she's still going to be in prison anyway. Yeah, she's serving 3 life sentences, right. Steve says, even recommended a travel ban on my town because though thought it was overrun with cartel violence when it was a one-off shootout between teenage gangsters. Scared. Alan watches a trial at a time, and dude says, "No, wait. Who are you following, Alan?" And then Cecil says, "I think she is serving through." Yeah, that's okay. Not much. Not much comfort. Not much comfort. Right. Yeah, Charles needs his justice. I agree. Definitely. In my unbiased opinion, which I will give that. Well, let's get my little pirate out the way because he's about to get attacked. All right, he's safe here. Do you think that Alien, in your unbiased opinion, do you think that the MS-13 support will backfire on Dems? And Steve, I think time will tell for certain if that will happen, but I don't know that for sure. But I think that it will likely over time, if it gets really bad, it will, when you want to be an ally with a group like that, it only will cause you more problems. So it most likely it most likely will, but only time will tell. I'm glad that you did too under a rocket. All right, Under a Rocket. Have a good evening. Thank you for coming. All right, Cecil, thank you for coming also. All right, good night, Under a Rocket. All right, sunk some ships right there. There we go. Where I am, it's 9:02 p.m. Rebel said something. He said, "I think a few of Lori's other family members should have been brought up on charges concerning Charles because they were all part of the conspiracy in one way or another." Good point, Rebel. Yeah, that very well may be. Yes. Oh, okay, Bina. I didn't know. Someone mentioned America's Most Wanted, but I didn't remember that being mentioned. I remember it being mentioned. I just don't remember it being on TV again. Okay, so also gonna look at some articles about it. Right, this island, there's the crabs. Yeah, Rebel. I've not followed that. Well, that's cool, Alan. I'm glad that you like that. Yeah, this is the woke island, right? All right. Now we're going to look at some things, and that'll be it. Okay. Voice to. Yeah, Rebel. Understood. Understood. East Idaho News has all the interviews with everybody dealing with Lori, Val Case, and Chad Dale, and Bill Case. Two, it's wild. Hell, it's Nate, good reporter. He is one that busted Lori and Chad. John Walsh and his son are bringing out big guns tonight. They have Emily Smart in the studio with them helping solve the missing persons case. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you. All right, let's see. Looking at this, let's see. See if there's anything else to see about this. Okay. Okay, let's wait for this thing to adjust. If it adjusts, let's see. All right, I don't know what y'all are able to hear of this, but here we go. Jurors now considering whether Lori Daybell conspired with brother to murder her husband. Jurors are now deliberating whether Lori Vallow Daybell conspired to murder her husband, Charles Vallow, in 2019. Daybell claimed self defense in her closing argument, claiming prosecutors were turning a family tragedy into a crime. Evidence of her involvement. The Brandon Boudreaux case is next after Lori determines her fate on this one. That's going to be interesting as well. Yeah, it will be, Rebel. It will be. Absolutely. Phoenix. Lori Vallow Daybell told jury that prosecutors attacked her character during this trial, but did not show evidence for an agreement to commit murder. Rather, she incited her husband's death was a family tragedy that tore her family apart. Quote, I did not commit this crime, she said in her closing argument on Monday. 12 jurors, 10 men, and 2 women are now considering whether Daybell conspired to murder Charles Vallow in July 2019. Jurors who handed the case on Monday afternoon decided just minutes later to go home and come back on Tuesday to deliberate. Daybell argues self defense. In her closing argument, Daybell, who was representing herself, said shooting was not planned or expected. It was shocking, she told members of the jury that it is entirely the prosecution's responsibility to prove that what happened was not self defense, and told them that if they are not firmly convinced she is guilty, they should give her the benefit of the doubt. Daybell encouraged jurors to listen to the interview that she had with Chandler police, often her husband's death, and determine her demeanor for themselves rather than rely on what the police said about her. She said her brother Alex Cox and her daughter Tylee Ryan were taken to the police station for interviews as well, but those recordings were not played in the courtroom. After an objection from the prosecutors, the judge told the jury not to consider what evidence was admitted. Prosecutor told to not consider the judge, the jury, not to consider what evidence was admitted. Quote, we learned that law enforcement treated all of us that way kindly and courteously on July 11, 2019, that law enforcement treated us that day like this was self-defense, she told the jury. Under Arizona law, I had the right to self-defense. Ty Lee had the right to self-defense. Alex had the right to self-defense. Lori Daybell said, and then you had the lady, that was doing the typing. The whole time she was looking at both state and Vallow and the state the same way. It was hilarious. She said evidence showed problems within her marriage with Vallow, but that does not mean what happened was not self-defense. She said Tylee left her room with baseball bat, and Vallow had the choice of whether to take and use the bat or not. A 2 minute period changed our lives forever. How can you decide How can you decide another person if they feel threatened? Why does the state want to blame somebody for the tragic event? She said. Over the last 2 weeks, Daybell has asked questions to witnesses called the stand by prosecutor Trina Kay, but she did not call any of her own witnesses or testify in her own defense. She did ask that her full interview with Chandler police officers be given to the jury, but the judge denied the request. Scared. Daybell was found guilty in 2023 for the murders of her two children, 16-year-old Tylee Ryan and 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow, according to conspiracy to murder them and Chad Daybell's wife, Tammy Daybell. Before she married him in 2019, she is currently serving five sentences of life in prison, not three, with possibility of parole. Chad Daybell was found guilty of the murders of the two children and his wife in 2024 and was sentenced to death. Premeditated execution. In her closing argument, Kay told jurors that Vallow's killing was premeditated execution, citing that Lori Daybell's text. Kay said that texts show how Lori Daybell was involved and what her motivations were. Quote, her words tell us that she was involved in this deletion. Her actions and her words were telling while texting Chad Daybell tell us the motive behind the murders. Chad and the money, Kay said. Rebels said when she left to go to Burger King, after she heard the shot fired, the timeline was off, and her reaction to his death and texting Chad about the insurance money are just a few things that nailed her. Precisely. That also didn't help either. No, not at all. To it and all was, and her motives behind it with the insurance money completely shows that she only was inferred for herself and it was on purpose. The prosecutor quoted a text in which Lori Daybell told Chad Daybell that not getting Vallow's life insurance money was a spear through the heart, and another that said it was likely Ned, a dark spirit who witness testified Lori Daybell had said was in control of her husband's body. Change the policy before we get rid of him. Both of these texts were sent days after Vallow's death. Yeah, she's the one with the demons in her, not him. Kay also brought up the word we and phrases we got rid of him multiple times, saying it was Lori's own admission to guilt. The execution of Charles Vallow is not a family tragedy. There is nothing that you can say about shooting a man as he lay on the ground that you can construe in any way to try to make it that. Kay said the response to Lori is closing arguments. Hello, Justice. Good to see you. Hey, Justice. Glad that you're here for a little bit. I had some storms going on, so, but I'm still here. And also, we're talking about our perspective with the trial. You know, I was asking other people what they thought about the time, and a lot of people think the jury will find her guilty within a couple of hours. And we're talking about reviewing what Lori Daybell did, you know, briefly. And early, and also I was talking about the aliens, you know, about how they may be fallen angels. And we're talking about there's a prophecy about aliens that might come in 2027. Also, might have to do with the Pope passing. Also, so that was something else we talked about regarding the aliens, because the Bible talks about these unpure frog spirits, and that might be the gray aliens that are being referenced, that we see as the gray aliens. So that was something interesting that happened. That we're talking about, aliens a little bit also, about our theories about what they could be. I believe there's aliens on other planets, but also I think a lot of them are fallen angel watchers that are disguised as aliens. And you're guessing 4 hours. Yes, yes. That's what a lot of people, quite a few people thought 4 hours. Some people say 2 hours. Hopefully it is a couple hours. It has to be quick. Yes, and also there's Project Bluebeam. Also, I'm aware of that as well, and about maybe making using holographic projections in the sky to make it look like there's something there that isn't. That's also a possibility. But I think that the aliens and the governments are working in cahoots together, because the Bible says how the fallen sons of God are control of the governments of Earth. And so the Project Bluebeam, that a fake alien invasion may be a thing. But I also think the aliens are in cahoots with them too, so it could be both could be true. Possibly. Yes, you believe in them too. Yes, absolutely. And also, yesterday I showed the video of the. Yesterday I showed the video of the UFO over Moscow, the flying saucer looking thing. That was interesting. I was showing the chat yesterday. Thank you, for that. Yeah. So there was this flying saucer that was over Moscow, or it was some sort of a craft, a military craft, and they couldn't shoot it down, and it looked like one of those things. That was very interesting. I have not seen The Great Awakening, but I'll check it out. Let's see. I think I might have that video saved already, but I'll check it out, because I haven't seen the whole thing. Yeah, well, I'm glad that your eyes are open about them. And also, Rebels says 2 hours tops of the verdict. Yeah, yeah, okay. So that is, about the average amount that people think. And yeah, well, Justice, I'm glad that your eyes are open about them. And since I was in fourth and third grade with my best friend, we talk about aliens all the time. So I've been doing it since I was, it was 2008 and 2000, yeah, 2008 and 9. Oh, I'm glad that it opened your eyes, and I'm gonna go and check it out. Okay, thank you, thank you. Yeah, and because people have alien abductions, and it's not really nice. And the Bible also talks about things like that, and it talks about chariots of fire and stuff. Those like flying saucers. So people through centuries have seen these things. Yeah. I am watching Karen Reed tomorrow. I am. Yeah, I'm watching it tomorrow. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting clown show. Scared. All right. The execution. Kay also brought up the words "we" in the phrase "we got rid of him" multiple times, saying it was Lori Daybell's own admission of guilt. The execution of Charles Vallow is not family tragedy. There's nothing that you can say about shooting a man is a lay on the ground that can construe any way as family tragedy, Kay said in response to Lori's closing. Justice says, I believe in aliens, and I think that the government does, and the best way to hide the truth is between two lies. Yes, they want to hide it, and they don't want people to know about it, and there's a point where they couldn't hide it anymore, so they start revealing information. Also, in movies and TV shows, they showed alien stuff to get people conditioned to be used to it. Yes, and also that in Planet 10, Planet Nibiru. So I think that absolutely it was the aliens are doing stuff like that. You know, they're hiding the information about aliens. And I saw UFO before. You know, I've seen them before. And also those drones in the sky. What was all that about? And also with the drones in the sky, they were going after orbs that were flying, and an orb shot down one of the drones. So it may have had to do with a micro alien invasion that happened. So that is, what I think about them as well. Yes. Rebel. So basically what happened, the jury could not decide, and also if I'm getting something wrong, I could be corrected by chat. The jury could not decide a verdict, so they had to do a new trial. Because there's a conflict because the police over there are very corrupted, apparently. And with the police being corrupted over there, they, people are not too sure if she was guilty or innocent, and they just couldn't make a decision. A hung jury. When you have a hung jury, they can't decide if it's guilty or innocent, so they have to have a new trial. And remember with, like, the planet Nibiru that's supposed to orbit our planet. Recently they said that they found the planet beyond Neptune. Because they've been saying for years that the planet 10 wasn't real. But they're saying now it is real. Not directly. They're saying they found the planet outside of our solar system that goes to the same profile as Nibiru. So that is what happened. So basically with the planet, and also with the aliens, there's also another theory that the aliens came from another dimension that are coming over here. Also, some other theories say they're time travelers. Yeah, so that's what I think, that with aliens could be from another dimension. All information from it. For centuries, they talked about a planet that was beyond Neptune. So we have all of our planets, but then there's this other planet that's out there that's supposed to come into our planet. Yes, I believe that there are reptilian aliens, which it has to do with the fallen angels. Like Satan is a reptile. It's the dragon. Now, I don't know if there's lizard people walking around. Now, there could be people walking around that might be actually aliens in disguise. That's possible. But I don't know if, like, say the royalty of England are necessarily lizard people in disguise. I don't know about that. But I do believe in the reptilian aliens, too. That has to do with in Bible, it talks about the Watchers, and some of these angels were reptilian that fell. So I do think there's truth to the reptilian thing, too. Yes. Oh, hello, Tom. Good to see you, buddy. Lizard people, I do think... Okay, this is how it works. All people are allegedly mixed with the DNA from the fallen angels. So they made these hybrids with the Nephilim and the humans. The humans and the aliens, or the angels, created the Nephilim. So that is where that explanation of the reptilian bloodline comes from. Because of these aliens were creating hybrids with these creatures of the earth. So humans could be related to these things distantly. But as I said, I don't know if it's very strong enough for for it to be like you have like someone with scales on their arm or something, but I do think humans have some DNA from them, some more than others. Yes. The Fallen Watchers. Justice says 10 years ago, I would have never believed any of this. Oh, yeah, I know. I know. And that's okay. It sounds like something from science fiction, but it's look at the evidence and the proof there's something going on here, in my opinion. Yes, her boyfriend was in the police force. It was her boyfriend that was a policeman that she allegedly killed. Yes. Shout out to Tom Farrell. Shout out to Tom Farrell. Cool people. All right. Kay said evidence shows Valo was shot a second time while on the ground, which shows premeditated murder. She said abrasions on her body show he fell forward onto his knees and moved onto his back before he was shot a second time. Quote, this murder, ladies and gentlemen, was not justified, she told jurors. Kay said Cox and Lori Daybell took time to set up the scene, forgetting that Valo was left-handed when placing the bat. She also recalled how Cox called Lori Daybell twice, saying it was likely that she took that the two could get their story straight before calling 911. She said it was Daybell who made sure JJ was out of the house in the car, and was Daybell who took Valo's phone, and he would come back inside. Alex Cox would have reason to bring out a pew-pew. She said Daybell was actively participating in the crime. This is her last doing. This is her accomplice, assisting promoting the murder Lori set up to Charles and Alex can shoot him, she said. The prosecutor claimed Daybell's account of the shooting was reliable, saying the video shows black straps on her feet when buying shoes at Walgreens that morning. After claiming she left quickly to grab shoes, she said Daybell claimed everything happened quickly, but there was 12 minutes between the time Valo arrived to pick up JJ, the time Daybell left the house, and when Daybell returned to the scene. Kay said that she did not show concern over the husband's death, the brother's head injury. It becomes very relevant that even in the smallest of things, this defendant exaggerates, minimizes, and completely untruthful to the various people. Kay said there is no reasonable doubt as to this defendant's guilt. Omission. Kay also cited testimony from one of Daybell's acquaintances who was disturbed about comments made by Cox about wanting to delete his brother-in-law a month before. How about to say, if there's someone else in here, they're not supposed to be in here. It was just a cat. I heard the something move, and it was a cat. I'm like, there shouldn't be anyone else in this room. Hello, Todd. Happy Easter to you. I hope you had a good Easter, buddy. Same to everybody else here, if I didn't mention it. Commonwealth is stylistic choice for Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Kentucky, but no different than the word state. Oh well. Hello, Todd. Good to see you, buddy. Omission. Kay also cited testimony from one of Daybell's acquaintances who was distributed about comments made by Cox about wanting to kill his brother-in-law a month before Valo's death. The witness also said Daybell did not seem to care about those comments and even commented herself that she had been drugging her husband. Kay said a text from Daybell asking those she was close to stay near her and another to Alex Cox talking about how they would be like Nephi are evident that they had it planned. Ah, okay, Todd, understood. I'm glad that you're here with us. Yes, Todd, I do agree. They both deserve the death penalty for certain. Definitely. Lori Daybell wanted $1 million, and she wanted Chad Daybell. She and Alex used that to twist religious beliefs that they had also so that they could kill in the evil possessed Charles and be like Nephi, Kay said. They perverted the scriptures of the Latter day Saints, which, as I said, I don't believe. I am not Latter day Saints. I'm not in the Latter day Saints, but I believe that they perverted the original scripture of the Latter day Saints people. All right, Kay said Daybell's religious beliefs, which witness testified to such believing she no longer needed to repent, aligned with the belief that Daybell would feel that she was justified in determining who dies, just like Nephi in the Book of Mormon, who is known to justify killings. The prosecutors said that Cox arrived at Daybell's house with a garbage bag full of clothes, an orange bag with a pew pew. That's all he needs to be part of the mission. Daybell responded to the use of the text, which she said that Alex would be like Nephi, which was sent the night before Valo was deleted, by saying it was a positive text message. Daybell said Kay's use of the evidence to show Valo's deletion, the murder, and not self-defense, it utterly is ridiculous. This is an attempt by the state to retrofit a crime that doesn't exist, she said. Yeah, Steve, you can get a witness, sure. Murdering children is one of the definitions for pure evil. I agree. What's up, Todd? I think they're weird as hell too. Justice says, all right. Steve said he won't bash them, but they're kind of weird. Um, well, I think that it's different than what I believe, but I do think there are good people in there. I don't want to say every single one of them is not right, but It's different to me, but they do. Let's see. Like I don't follow it personally. Now they do things with charity and stuff, which is good. But as I said, I don't follow it. But you know, not every single one in that religion is bad. That's all I'm trying to say. And Tom says to each their own, whatever works for them, break the law. Also, I believe in freedom of religion. And here, all religions are accepted here. Although, yes, I'm a Christian, and you could say there's a Christian theme to it, but all religions are accepted here. And, I think that not all people in that religion are bad people, just we all have our different beliefs, but we all need to try to get along as much as possible. Amen. All right, continuing. All right, that is it for a Lori Daybell article. All right. All right, Todd. Oh, Todd, I ended what I had to say about the trial. If there's something else that came up, let us know what happened. If you had anything news that came up. Yeah, go for it. Now, shout out to Miranda. Also, cool people. Hello, Matt. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, shout out to Hansel and Alien. Shout out to Matt. Oh, passing a Pope. Okay, let's talk about Pope Francis. Okay. All right, so Pope Francis passed away. I did a video about Pope Francis. Dutch aliens wear wooden shoes. All right, so basically what happened was Pope Francis passed away, and I was raised Catholic, although I have Protestant traditions too, and Catholic traditions. I like both beliefs. But basically, so Pope Francis passed away right after Easter, on Easter Monday. Rest in peace to him. He was very well known, and he was very well liked everywhere across different religious spectrums, and he did what he could to try to make, in his view, to make peace between different groups and different people. And it's a very unfortunate situation. Rest in peace to the Pope. And he will be remembered. And he died on a very significant day, on the day after Easter, and I think there's meaning to that. I think that is a very one of the most holiest days in Christianity to go. And all right, Justice, look forward to chat. All right. Amen, Miranda. Amen. Yes. And now I'll read. So Pope Francis, he dies at 88, and rest in peace to him. And he just meant the president, and he also just meant J.D. Vance, and he was also at the Easter event in Rome So, what a way to go. And Todd says the Vatican said he had a massive stroke this morning, followed by immediate heart attack. Couldn't be revived. It was very sudden. Oh, that is really a way to go on right after Easter. And he, did his duty that he had to do. And I believe that is a sign to be go with the Lord on that day. It really is a sign. Wow. Yes, he saw Vance yesterday. All right. All right, let's see how this goes. All right. Looks like we're coming back in. I saw it before 4 a.m. Oh, well, he saw it at 4. Okay, I saw it around the same time. I was in another chat room, and they were saying the Pope passed away. And I went and checked it out. And basically, yeah, and I made a video about the Pope earlier. I made a video about him earlier. But, yeah, so here we go about some information about this. Good night, Justice. Pope Francis is a reformer who ratified. No, that. I'll read that again. Pope Francis, a reformer who rattled the Catholic Church's conservative and inspired some progressive, has died from serious of health issues in Argentina, who was an Argentinian born pontiff and was 88 years old. The cause of death was a stroke and purported irreversible heart failure, according to a death certificate issued by the Vatican. He taught us to live the values of the gospel with faithfulness, courage, and universal love, especially in favor of the poorest and the marginalized, Cardinal Farrell said in a statement. And Miranda, a lot of Christians don't agree with the Pope. I don't agree. I sure don't, and I don't agree with a lot of pastors, like I told y'all. And yeah, Miranda, I understand, and I don't agree with everything that the Pope did either. Understood. There's a lot, we all have disagreements, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, we have to be united together to for the common cause, and we could just try to learn and get along. So yeah, that's a good point, Miranda. Yeah, absolutely. He taught us to live. This these quotes. He taught us to live the values of the gospel, faith with faithfulness, courage, and universal love, especially favor of the poorest, marginalized. Cardinal Kevin Farrell said in a statement. Francis' body was most likely be transfigured to a St. Peter's Basilica on Wednesday morning to allow his worshipers to pay their respects, the Vatican said. The College of Cardinals will choose his successor during the upcoming convol, no, conclave. Tributes are pouring from all around the world, with global leaders offering their condolences. And there are many people, the King of England did a condolence. You had people all over. The president and the vice president make condolences. Many condolences indeed. Matt says, I'm sure it took a couple hours for those Italian meatballs to get themselves in order to communicate properly. Hilarious. Miranda said, Steve, yes, only Jesus should speak for us, our high priest, period. But I know, right? People love the Pope. That's true. Amen. The College of Cardinals for their birds. I know the Bishop Venago Vigano had a lot to say about Pope Francis, and they excommunicated Bishop Vigano. Vigano. Okay. Miranda, that sounds like an active day. Absolutely. The College of Cardinals will choose his successor during an upcoming. Okay, I read that. Okay, so let's see. Steve says, I'm sorry. The Pope is dead." Hilarious. During his papacy, Pope Francis championed the needs of children around the world with humility and security. The Pope wanted all children to know they mattered, including the sick and the vulnerable. The plain spoken Pope often offered youths a sense of belonging and encouraged them to shake things up and make their voices heard. On September 24, 2015, Francis made history as the first pontiff to address Congress. He had come to the Capitol in the innovation of his house. Speaker John Boner, that's the guy's name, I remember that, of Ohio, a devout Catholic. In his speech, Francis warned against religious and ideological extremism and said to not be fearful of foreigners because most of us were once foreigners, he said. All right. That's hilarious, Matt. Hilarious. All right. Yes, that's the Pope that passed away. Rest in peace to him. All right. Yeah, so, and that's basically about the Pope's passing and what happened with that. And many around the world are mourning his death, and world leaders have given their condolences about him. So yes, rest in peace. He passed away right after the Easter service. Right after Easter and Easter Monday. Scared, Matt. Alan says the Pope Francis wanted the U.S. to have open borders, yet Vatican has borders. I agree, Alan. I agree. This is why humans can be flawed, and God is only perfect. Jesus is the only perfect one. So it's best to focus on God and the Holy Spirit's guidance, because humans can become flawed and corrupted. We all make errors and mistakes. You know. And that's how that works, and it's best to stick with God also. All right, good night, Todd. Thank you for stopping by. Venus said, "Do you think it's hot where he is now?" And Matt says, "He's from Argentina. I think he's used to it." All right. Okay. Let's see. So Stark and Hella is hot. Scared. Yeah, people have their different perspectives and beliefs about how the situation would turn out. Yeah, that's one of Bina's favorite albums. All right. And yeah, so basically, so that's what was going on, and we'll see about how the Karen Reed trial goes for tomorrow. Yes, and I've not heard of that band Rebel or that group, Bina. I've not heard of that. But it is very fascinating to learn more music. Now, I will say that the Cats, I saw the Cats earlier and they're being funny. It was really cool. Thank you, Alan. I'm glad that you liked my live stream, podcast, vlog, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. Consider the Considering the popes were South American, German, and Polish, the next will be either American, African, or another Italian meatball. Oh, thank you, Bina. Thank you. Let's see. Ah, okay. I've not heard of DMX. I don't know anything about him. I see he's a rapper. I've not heard of him. I do need to do some research. Absolutely. Yeah, Mexican Pope. Stop, drop, shut them down. Open up shop. Oh, no. Rough Riders. Oh. Scared. That's how Rough Riders roll. Well, aliens learning some new lyrics. Learn something new every day. Also, I hope everybody had a good Easter. I hope that went well with everybody. Y'all are awesome. That's how we got them. For being awesome. Rough Riders O would have been cool though. We are DMX epiters. Ah, that's good. That's cool. I'm glad I'm learning the wisdom of DMX. It's about time I had to learn about this. Yeah, and let's see. I always like the song "How It Goes Down." It was a big hit, but people never really mention it. Oh, all right. Alan says, "You know, you're a superstar on Law and Crime, right? You never come into the chat until the afternoon." Oh yeah, and I know I'm a superstar over there, and I'm glad that the chat likes me. And I do come in the afternoon. That is true. Scared. I'm sure that they wonder where I am. Yes. Yeah, and I'm the alien superstar. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow, Tom. And Alan said, but when you come into the room, everybody perks up and gets happy. You're everybody's little brother there. Yes, I am. It is hilarious. Yeah, I'm the star of the show. I'm glad everybody gets all happy when I get there. I'm always glad and happy to see them too. And we're all family there, and I appreciate the love that I have across the YouTube platforms. All right, take care, Tom. Every young man needs to have DMX talk with his parent or elders. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so, and I'll be keeping up with the news and the trial stuff that's going on. We'll certainly be keeping up with it. And yeah, now Karen Reed tomorrow, that would be very interesting for us to see. It'll be very interesting. Oh, that's funny, Alan. I mean, that's funny, Steve. Hilarious. All right. Yeah, it's a rapper. Yeah, because every stream that I go to, I'm loved over there. Yes, all the streams all over YouTube I go to, and I'm dearly loved by everybody. Yes, it's every stream that Alien goes to. Yeah, as I said, I got the Alien charm, and God has blessed me very much. Scared, scared. Yeah, thank you, Steve, for shout out with that. All right, and my backyard is completely flooded. By the way, yeah. Yeah, Rebel says Alien is too cool. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Right back at you. And Steve says DXM is over the counter drug, so parents should probably talk to their children about it as well. When I was in school, I also was well liked at school too. Yeah. So I was liked, everywhere. Even at summer camp, I was liked. As I said, I've been very blessed, and it's all about teamwork, and everybody else is important too. All right. I'm trying to think anything else. DXM, Robber, Robot. I'm old enough to remember the 90s. Yes, you are, Matt. Absolutely. The flood is okay. It did not hurt the garden. It didn't hurt the garden at all. It's fine. Yeah, don't do drug kids. I remember that ad, the '90s commercial about Dare. I saw that before about don't do drugs, kids. I saw that. Yeah, just say no. Right. Venus says the "Let Me Fly" lyrics are sweet. Scared. Geez, that sounds like hail, Mister. People still do it. There is a that Dateria short walk from me growing, and that's hellish. Also, Matt says Robo tripping Robo it to Usin cough syrup used to have DXM in it, and '90s kids would drink it and get high. Oh, I know about that and the cold medicine. Yeah, and also Matt says Benadryl. Kids take Benadryl for fun. Oh, scared. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Scared. All right. Well. All right. So I don't look for it, but listen to the report stories on YouTube some before bed sometimes. All right. Okay. So all right. So basically, we have completed the stream about the Lori Daybell and the trial chat stuff, and tomorrow will be Karen Reed. Also, the other trials. There'll be two verdicts tomorrow. Also, so we will. I'll be reviewing them too, and we'll see if there's any verdicts tomorrow. So as I said, we're going to be ending it, and I am I am thankful for all of you, and it was a very fun stream. I enjoyed learning different stuff from chat, and I liked talking to y'all about the trial. It was a very good stream. I enjoyed it, everybody, and also Let's Go Dodgers comes in right when I'm about to end it. Now, Let's Go Dodgers. I'm going to give you a little recap before I go. So today I talked about the Lori Daybell trial, and also she did her closing arguments today, as well as the state did the closing today, and the state kind of did long with their closing, but overall they did good with the closing. And Lori Daybell was only a couple of it was like it seemed like 5 minutes or 20 minutes or something. It wasn't really that long, and she people think that'll be a few hours until the verdict will be reached tomorrow. And the other situation that happened was Karen Reed trial will be tomorrow, the new trial that will be happening. And also in the bathtub murder trial, there will be a verdict. We'll see about the verdict in that trial as well. And also, I do want to say to Let's Go Dodgers, good to see you, bro. Peace. Peace out. And we're talking about aliens a little bit, how we think there might be fallen angels, how they might come from another dimension, or like the Bible talked about these frog-like creatures, or these frog spirits that might be what the great aliens are. And we're talking about how whatever the aliens are, that the governments have concealed information about them for a long time. That's something else we mentioned. And we have some different people talking about their opinions about Pope Francis passing away. And we were talking about other things too. And do Salvia is crazy as hell. A chick at the smoke shop in Canada, and she smoked it her way to work. Yeah, that's very crazy. And if you want to blow your mind, listen to some Salvia stories. People smoke, live years in other people's, or imitate objects in a matter of 10 minutes. That's crazy. Drugs are dumb, right? So, yeah, let's go Dodgers. Thank you for coming and telling us hello. As I said, we completed the stream about the trial stuff and the other things we talked about, and I did some gaming earlier. Yeah. So that is it. And thank you all for coming, as I said. Have a very good evening. And I hope everybody had a great Easter. I know we had an Easter time yesterday in the chat, but also I hope everybody had a great Easter. Everybody has a great week, and I'll keep everybody updated about this trial stuff. All right. And so that is it. And